Welcome to the Today Show on your TV, Halton Region, and the Disability Channel. I am Tracy Schmidt, better known as Unstoppable Tracy, and today I have an unstoppable Karen-Ann Xavier. Karen-Ann is the founder of Able Sail across Canada, and now Able Sail Toronto, and is also a huge partner and ally with the Burlington Able Sail program. And so I am very excited for all of you in the Halton region to hear about Karen-Ann's escapades and what led her here and about the sailing program. And certainly all of you listening from around the world are going to be motivated to get out on that water. Bye for now. Stay tuned. Right after these messages will be the extraordinary Karen-Ann Xavier with some fun stories to share.
Hi all, this is Mike Kessel. I'm the CEO of Cleveland Clinic Canada. And I wanted to thank Jay and the Disability Channel for all the great work they do. And I know they have a big fundraiser coming up on October 12th this year. I wish them nothing but the best, and I'm thrilled to participate in the fundraiser. Thank you all. Take care.
Hello everyone, I'm Burlington Mayor Marianne Mead Ward, and I'd like to wish the Disability Channel much success on your October 12th fundraiser for persons with disabilities and veterans, your VIP concert and drone ball drop. Thank you for choosing Burlington. You operate right out of Tech Place right here in our city and serving the people in our community, and much success with your fundraiser. Thank you.
Hello, I am Unstoppable Tracy Schmidt. Welcome to your TV, the Disability Channel. It is such a pleasure to be welcoming on the Today Show Halton Region, Oakville local, Karen-Ann Xavier. Hello, Karen-Ann.
Hi, Tracy. It's lovely to be here.
Oh, it's so wonderful to be face to face, even if it is virtual.
Yes.
So many exciting things have been happening in your world. You have founded a new Able Sail program.
Yes, there are 17 programs across the country in Canada. So Canada is a much more advocate for accessibility in sport, in sailing, than many other countries, and is an example that is being mimicked in other countries too. We have the good fortune of having the Able Sail Network of Canada, which is the federal organization that helps the programs get started.
Now, I, as a past sailor myself, that aspired to one day, someday, be a big famous racer, my early and most successful times were with you as a coach. And so I know that you have been around the world with many sailors with disabilities. What's kind of your past legacy that led you to Able Sail today?
Well, I was always very interested in sailing, and that started because of my father. He used to talk to me about his sailing stories, and he would always say, "You're too small. You can't start yet. You know, you're too small." And of course, that made me want even more to sail, because when you're told something that you can't do when you're a kid, you really want to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And he was a very serious racer himself, and he used to work on boat building in our backyard. So I grew up helping him do fabrication and construction on boats.
Oh.
And then he got injured in a car accident during a snowstorm. And from then on, he was a person with disability who was not able to compete in sports and had a much reduced lifestyle.
And quality of life. And
yeah, and in those days, there was less organizations and activities that people could do. So he would talk to me about sailing. And so I would hear his stories, and I would hear the loss in his voice about how much he missed it.
Oh,
And the work that I do with Able Sail always reminds me of my dad, who's passed on now, about how it would have changed his life for the better and given him so much more quality of life and enjoyment. And I don't think it would have mattered that he wasn't in a big yacht
no.
racing on the ocean. All that would have mattered is that he would have been with the wind and the water and in a boat.
Oh. And that's a gift you gave to me, the feeling of wind and water in a boat. And I feel, as a woman with no hands and no legs, being told I'm too small or not enough, I really feel for your childhood. And it's funny, I'm thinking of regattas that I've been to with Karen-Ann before the Able Sail founding role, as just as a racer yourself and a coach. And I know on the water, she jumps from boat to boat, and she's kind of known, has this legacy around the world, not just in Canada and not just in Halton region. She's very well known in all the Halton region yacht clubs. You mentioned Karen-Ann Xavier at your local yacht club in Halton, and they'll know her. They know her at all the yacht clubs, anywhere you go in Halton and across Ontario or Canada.
Mm-hmm.
But she is like this monkey that jumps all over and knows boats. And so now I know where it came from. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to hear more stories and how it became Able Sail Network from a dream of a little girl wanting to sail and wanting to gift the sailing back to her dad who was injured. So folks, stay tuned. This is the Disability Channel. This is your TV in Halton region with Oakville local Karen-Ann Xavier, but internationally known, but definitely a Halton region and Able Sail Toronto West End #1 priority. And we're lucky to have her today to hear her stories and to learn and leverage for ourselves the quality of recreation and particularly sailing. So we'll be back right after these messages on your TV, The Today Show, with Karen-Ann Xavier and Unstoppable Tracy Schmidt. We'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. Bonjour, bonjour. As Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, I'm delighted to offer my best wishes for success to the many friends and staff of the Disability Channel for your October 12th fundraiser in support of employment programs for persons with disabilities and veterans. Removing barriers wherever they exist, creating accessible spaces, and promoting greater equity are all central to this province's efforts to rebuild from the COVID-19 pandemic. So help us to ensure a more inclusive and resilient future, one that works for everybody. Please accept my thanks and encouragement. Keep up your inspiring and dedicated work. Thank you. Merci, miigwech.
Welcome back. For those of you that just joining us, this is the Today Show. I have guest Karen-Ann Xavier from Able Sail Toronto. She is the founder, and she's also an international sailor herself, and was an incredible coach for many on the Canada team, and certainly an ally for a lot of the founding programs across Canada. And we're so lucky to have her here in Halton region now, supporting folks. And she just shared with us before the break about her dad being a sailor lifelong, and he himself losing the ability to go sailing. And so she's back after the break to share with us a little bit about, so what brought you here today with the Able Sail program? What was the evolution from being this young dreaming sailor to a big founder of Able Sail Toronto and Able Sail across Canada?
Probably about a bit over 20 years ago, I was a member of Etobicoke Yacht Club. And I used to do catamaran sailing. And I used to write articles for various publications in the sailing world about catamaran sailing. And I came across some information on the internet about Hobie 16 trap seat sailing.
Mm.
So I did some interviews and I wrote an article which got published in the North American Hobie Class Association newsletter on trap seat sailing. And that was seen by someone from Sail Canada, who decided at that point that I should get more involved with accessible sailing.
Yes.
And then I ended up teaching trap seat sailing at Etobicoke Yacht Club for people with disabilities.
Can you elaborate just a tiny bit for our non-sailors? After today, they're all going to want to be sailors, but a bit about what's a trap seat.
A trap seat is a system that mounts on the side of the boat so that someone who has mobility issues with their lower body can sit in this sling. And from that sling, that keeps them on the sailboat. And then they can steer the boat and control the sails from there.
Woo! And that's early.
That was a long time ago. So I was doing it probably before Canada, before sailing, accessible sailing in Toronto started. So it would have been years before things started up in Toronto.
Yes, I think Independence Afloat in 1988 had one or two people with disabilities in able-bodied programs, but nothing as involved as trap seats and inclusive of all, like very high independent people with disabilities, maybe missing a foot or minor cerebral palsy. So they were in the program, but they didn't have a disability that would require something like an adapted trap seat. Wow, that's so great. You're the early adopter and trendsetter extraordinaire.
And every time I looked at a boat or looked at not only the trap seat system, but other boats, I was always visualizing in my head the modifications that we could do to be able to make things more flexible for people. The concept of equality versus equity versus inclusion. I wanted to see how adaptations could be made to be able to make more people participate. And I ended up working with people that had, like a family member that had rheumatoid arthritis that was very bad, or things like that, working on keel boats, what modifications could be done to keel boats, to help people with kids with physical disabilities go sailing and participate with a family and be included in the family social and outdoor activities.
So, and what's great for our listeners that aren't sailors is that a keel boat has an extra weight, an extra ballast that helps keep the boat upright. So it's more stable than, say, a centerboard sailboat. And you talk about adaptations from 20 years ago to, I know right now, there's a really great windlass that I hope you talk about, but that you're even continuing to adapt and improve the current windlass. Will you tell listeners about that current ambition of invention that you're today still in the middle of inventing and improving?
I feel that we must constantly strive to improve in our lives, in everything that we do. And when we assess the equipment that we're using, plus with the advancements that exist in technology, we can keep pushing the limits and pushing the limits. If we remain status quo, then we don't grow.
No.
So looking at the equipment that we have to constantly be assessing that and seeing how we can improve it. And that means everything from, like, I'm involved with the design of the Martin 16 sailboat, which is used by many of the programs in the world for accessible sailing. There are different boats that exist, but that's one boat in particular that I work on the most, although I have worked on other boats. And we are constantly evolving things like the seating arrangement, in particular for people to increase the accessibility of the sport for people with higher level disabilities. So what can we modify? In the past, they used to use seatbelt systems and they used to strap people into the boat. Well, that's very restrictive. Why not eliminate that and find other ways of doing it, which is more comfortable, but not only more comfortable, doesn't look like you're a person with disability. Take that away from the whole equation. And then other adaptations in the boat as well, such as the windlass, which helps people that don't have good hand strength or hand dexterity be able to sheet in the sails or let them out. That's the accelerator, if you imagine, on a car. If you want to go faster, you want to go slower, then you can control the speed with the sails, as well as your direction with the sails and the steering. So make that easier. And then also for steering might be a harder thing for people to do if they don't have their hands, if they don't have hand strength, if they have limited range of motion of their arms. So there's different things that we have done to tailor the boat to the needs of the individual. For every person who comes into Able Sail Toronto, we do an initial assessment with an occupational therapist. We actually have an occupational therapist on staff who is our program director. And what she does is she assesses the individual to see what modifications need to be done to accommodate their body. And that could be anything from the seating arrangements to cushions to windlass to auto helm or other adaptations. We've been experimenting with foot steering as well, so that you can steer the boat with your feet. So, and always keeping an open mind to what else can we try that could be interesting, that could be better. So,
what I love about sailing is like always keeping an open mind and what could be better and what else can we do, and look at the range of different disabilities you were describing. And I know that there's even people that wouldn't even consider themselves having a disability. They might have had a minor stroke, or they're actively aging and their arthritis or their strength isn't what it used to be, and they come down and volunteer with the program or enjoy the boats too. And that anyone or just recreational sailors as well that want to ensure that they're not going to capsize and they were too afraid maybe to be on a Hobie Cat like or a catamaran like you sail, but that they can enjoy the Martin 16, right through to someone. We have a friend that looks like Superman and also acquired the same disability of paralysis from the neck down, and he's a real hot dog of a racer. And so it's interesting that someone as athletic as yourself, right through to someone who's paralyzed, can compete on an equal playing field in these incredible boats.
I have raced many times with a gentleman named Rene who tends to want to have me with him on the boat when he's racing at national level competitions.
Yeah.
And he's paralyzed from the neck down. He uses his wheelchair with this tilt of his head, so he can tilt his head so that he can turn his chair. And when he sails the boat with his mouth. So he sips and puffs into two different straws to turn the boat in the direction that he wants to go, and to trim the sails, so bring the sails in or out to speed up and adjust the direction of where he's going. And he's a very avid competitor.
Yeah.
Always asking, what can I do? What can I change to make the boat go faster? And he sails at an equal level with so many other people that have different types of disabilities, that could have minor disabilities in comparison to his. My husband has a funny story that he likes to tell where he didn't have exposure to working with people with physical disabilities until he got involved with me. And he jokes about comments that they were competing. He was competing against somebody who had a stroke, who was still fairly mobile, and they were arguing about an issue that happened on the water, and there was no barriers. It
No.
was one-on-one, two people.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, your husband's also fairly athletic and strong and fit and young, and look, getting his butt kicked by someone with complete paralysis. Like, come on. Oh, that's very fun. So I would love to hear. We're getting enamored and taken away by all of these great stories, and we still haven't talked about Able Sail and where people in the Halton region can go. How can they get to Able Sail Toronto? How can they get to Burlington? How can they get to other recommendations for people around the world listening? But most of our listeners are Halton region. So, folks, please stay tuned. We're going to hear about where you can sail and more about sailing and the quality of recreation making a difference in the lives of people that you love or you yourself, and life skills that are just transferable. This always improving and adapting has certainly benefited me in my daily life, not just my sailing life. So stay tuned. Right after these messages, Karen-Ann Xavier with Able Sail Toronto and Able Sail Canada is going to be right back on the Today Show, Halton Region, Your TV, the Disability Channel, and Tracy Schmidt, Unstoppable Tracy. We'll be right back.
Jay Stoyan for the Disability Channel. I just want to announce that we're going to be having our 2022 Drone Ball Drop fundraiser. It's going to piggyback off our 2021 successful fundraiser here in Canada. So again, 2022 Drone Ball Drop fundraiser in the USA, supporting our employment programs, supporting persons with disabilities and veterans. For more information, go to www.thedisabilitychannel.ca.
Hey, I'm Tiger Williams, and you're watching the Disability Channel, and support Easter Sails all year round, and thank you very much.
I'm Zach Damon, host of the Disability Channel Detroit. Please join us at the Disability Channel and watch the Disability Channel Detroit for all your Michigan disability information.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. We are the Today Show. If you're just tuning in, we are with Karen-Ann Xavier, Oakville local in the Halton region, here on Your TV, as well as the social media platforms and Roku and around the world, but definitely predominantly Halton region Today Show. And I am Unstoppable Tracy Schmidt, proud student of Karen-Ann Xavier, who is now the founder of Able Sail Toronto and the founder of many solutions and inventions continuously, past, present, and future, for sailors with disabilities, that ultimately transfers into not only the sailors with disabilities lives, everyday life, but also some of our staff's lives. There's so many stories to tell in this last segment. Welcome, Karen-Ann Xavier. Thank you for joining us today. So before we disappear at the end of the show, can you tell us a little bit about Able Sail Toronto and how sailors in the Halton region, or new folks new to their disability, or their family members or staff, how can we get involved in Able Sail?
Able Sail Toronto is located in Toronto on the western part of the harborfront area, near the island airport.
Very good.
And the body of water that is where we do the sailing is called Humber Bay.
So pretty.
And Humber Bay is a bay of Lake Ontario, which gives you, when you're out on the water, you have a wonderful view of the city of Toronto from the western side, but also you can see all the way to Oakville and Mississauga and Hamilton if you have a clear day. And the freedom for people to be out in the open water is they feel more free. There are less restrictions because you're not enclosed by land as much. So there is a really good sense of being out in nature, more so than if you're restricted in a smaller area.
It's funny, recreation therapists call it flow. And when I'm on the water, I am not thinking of somebody who wouldn't open the door for me because they're afraid, as a person with a disability, I have COVID. And I'm not thinking about, oh, I burnt my lip on a pan because I was struggling with the stove, and I'm not thinking about finances or the laundry I've got to do. I just completely get absorbed in the moment. And I'm no longer, not that I'm proud of having a disability and I was born exactly the way I was meant to be, but it's not relevant. It's not, no one's staring. It's not an adaptation. I'm in the water, I'm on the water, and I am fully absorbed in the moment. Thanks to Karen-Ann Xavier. Yeah. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just really wanted to celebrate that feeling that you were describing.
Well, the word flow is a great word to describe sailing because you've got the flow of the water and the flow of the wind, and you are really out in nature. It's quiet and peaceful. The experiences for me is the same experience that so many of the other sailors enjoy.
Yeah.
Being out of your equipment and free of your equipment to just be in the boat and feel that experience is very healing and therapeutic, mentally as well as physically.
And sometimes I can't tell if the program is for people with disabilities or for your volunteers that are part of the program. Like, everybody just wants to be around and is laughing. Do you want to talk about, like, how do they find you? How can they just visit and give a try? What are some of your thoughts that you want to be sure listeners hear before we say goodbye?
During the summertime, the program runs from the last week of May to the end of August. So anybody is welcome to come down and see the program operating at National Yacht Club, which is 1 Stadium Road in Toronto. And also, you can contact us through our website, ablesailtoronto.com. You can email us. You can email me at Karen-Ann, that's all one word, KARENANN, at ablesailtoronto.com.
Nice and easy, ablesailtoronto.com.
That's right. We will be operating this year. For the past 2 years, we were off because of COVID. We have a dock, a floating dock, which is on the water right by the clubhouse building. So from the clubhouse, actually from the top deck of the clubhouse, you can see the dock and you can watch and see how we operate, how we transfer people onto the sailboats and seeing them go off and sail. So you can actually watch and see and decide if you want to participate. For family members that are there with their family member who is a member of the program, they can sit at the top deck and they can actually watch them out on the water because they have a full view of the bay. So that is also something that where you can relax and have some downtime and have a cup of tea or coffee and watch your family members sailing, in particular people that have kids that have physical disabilities, because we have youth sailing as well in Able Sail.
All ages. And people participate in unusual ways. Some are sailing volunteers, some are participating in the program, some love to help because the boats need to be cleaned or repaired or sometimes towed somewhere. Maybe you've got a vehicle with a tow ball. And I understand, like, even some of your neighbors donate lamps, you know, like just any
That's
people
right.
want to be part of the program in some way. And then that money gets used to either fundraise or support the decoration of some of the sailors' homes.
We've had actually our neighbor, their son is one of the staff people that we've had at Able Sail Toronto. Every summer we hire youth from the community to work at Able Sail Toronto, and this year we're hiring 4 staff. And these are people, young people that enjoy sailing, that are below the age of 25, and that want to share that experience in a paying job with people with disabilities. And last year, so 2021, we had Sam who joined us, and he worked on a lot of the assistive equipment and the concepts of how we would manage that, all of our processes and programming for the adaptations. And he'll be working with us again in 2022.
And so many of these youth from the past and present, they go on to careers in engineering or working with people with disabilities or OT.
That's right. We've had one of our staff who was unsure about what career path that she was going to take. After her experience with us, decided to go into occupational therapy and went to McMaster to study occupational therapy as a result of her experience with us. Also, one of our main volunteers who was making a career change and didn't know which direction he was going to go in, after his experience of that first summer working with us, decided to go into occupational therapy and actually went to McMaster as well. So the two of them were actually going to McMaster at the same time, age differential, same program.
Look at that. Well, Karen-Ann, it has been such a pleasure, such a delight to be reminded of, even though it's the middle of winter for all of us listening and watching that are in northern part of North America and Halton region in particular, it's nice to dream of the warmer days and the warm breeze on our face. I could almost feel myself in the boat listening to you and reminding us about, you know, continuously improving, and everything can be, it might work, but we can make it better and better every day in everything that we do. And that you're aware of programs right across Canada. If people are tuning in from somewhere else, reach out to Karen-Ann and she can tell you your closest program. And we are west side, we're near the Halton side with her particular program, Able Sail Toronto, but there's also Burlington and Hamilton, and she can let you know what's out there and available, which is great. And we want to expand sailing, and we want everybody to expand their recreational opportunities, because of the fulfillment is just times 10 on quality of life. Let's experience that beautiful flow all around. So thank you for tuning in. Can you please tell our listeners one more time the website of how, and on that website they'll be able to find you?
Yes, ablesailtoronto.com is the website. And you can also find us on Facebook and on Twitter. We have a Facebook page and a Facebook group, as well as our Twitter feed. The organization, the phone number is on the website as well. My email address is Karen-Ann, Karen-Ann, at ablesailtoronto.com. You can reach out to get hold of me and ask any questions. We'll be happy to answer those. And if it's with regards to becoming a member, you can do an application on the website. If you're interested in volunteering, then you can also fill in the application, and we do pretty extensive volunteer training, so you will be well equipped and well prepared to help out, and it's a lot of fun. So from participating and becoming part of the community, you will have a great time.
Karen-Ann, thank you so much for education, for a laugh, for your time. And listeners, thanks for tuning in on the Today Show with Karen-Ann Xavier from Able Sail Toronto, a Halton local Oakville dweller, and unstoppable Tracy Schmidt, on the Today Show, on the Disability Channel, on your TV. Please tune in every week. Around the world, we've got New York Today Show, we've got LA Today Show coming up, and you're with us, the legacy show, the Today Show Halton Region. Take care, everybody. Bye for now. Thank you, Karen-Ann.
Thank you, Tracy.